Assalamu alaikum, my chair, my dear faculty members, colleagues, students, entrepreneurs, the management, and the government officials. Very good morning and assalamu alaikum. Today we have a technical session. Actually, it's not a kind of the session of the motivation, or it's not a kind of the speech, but I have been just prepared the presentation from my research. That is for the tomato peel, and it is basically belongs to the agricultural integration and the industrialization, and afterward what we have been put it into the waste, that is actually making our environment vulnerable, and side by side we can have the health hazards as well. So let's start a presentation.
Yes, ma'am.
If we can have a Okay, so this is the title. As we already know that the food waste is throughout the world. We have the agricultural production and the household consumption, and out of that we have the global sustainability, which have been on the stake for the food security as well as the natural resources, and then we have the environment, and ultimately it will affect the human health. So, for instance, in the world, what we have been consuming the food the most, and when we have the food, we have the two or the three different processes. The one is that we have been as such use the food through the processing of the cooking, and ultimately we are consuming. The next way is that we have the agricultural food. We do it into the process, put it into the market, and ultimately we have to consume it. And finally, the food what we had in the form of the fruits, vegetables, which we have consumed as such while we are taking up from the market, and we are putting up into the waste by the peel. So whatever we are using for the food, we have been making the lot of the pressure with our food security, the environment and the human health. If we are not managing the peels, we are not managing the food residues, or we are not managing the processing of these foods, it will make a real trouble for the sustainability of our environment. So, as we know already that in Pakistan or in the world, the tomatoes, they are the second most important crop, the horticultural crop that has been used worldwide. Into the different forms. I mean, the people, they are using it into the cookeries, the curries. The people, they have been using into the processing by the way of the certain sauces, or they are preparing it with the pulp, or the tomato ketchups, or different kinds of the curries we have been from the tomatoes. And but unfortunately in our country, when we have put it into the machines, mechanical method, by the process of the peeling, while we are using the process into the mechanical way, our industries, they are producing a lot of the waste by the industries. It's a one kind of the waste. The other kind of the waste, like if we are keeping the tomatoes into the homes, either we are using the refrigeration or some sun drying method, but still we have some of the issues related for their, because it's not have a longer shelf life when we are not putting into the refrigeration, or while we are not consuming for the longer period of the time. Ultimately, we can have the some of the bioactive compounds that will make them more hazardous for the environment. Although it's an important crop for us, and if we utilized full, we can have the number of the profit schemes by utilizing the tomato waste. So. Why my study has been mainly consist of the antioxidant properties, and we have the bioactive compounds, which we want to explore it from the experimentation, that what in Pakistan, what kind of the variety we have available into the conventional methods, and how we can detect the certain bioactive compounds, and we can explore the important, we can say that the important bioactives as well as the micronutrients which we can got it from the tomato peel waste. So it was the first objective, and the second was that we can have some of the mechanical harvest if we put it into the machines. Ultimately, what amount of the such waste that could be estimated, like how much we can got it from the waste. So this is the two objectives. And then we have, yes, I did it. For this, we have picked up the local variety in Pakistan, the indigenous, and then we have put it into the simple mechanical methods. I mean, we can do the experimentation, which we want to fix it for the exploration of the certain bioactive compounds in there. And these are the certain methods in which we are putting into the certain lab-oriented equipments and the experiments, and ultimately we can have the certain scientific procedures. So these are all the methods how we have to determine our micronutrients or some kind of the bioactive compounds. And these are all the experimentation that we have been run for that, and there are some of the analysis techniques I have been discussed. So this is what it's the important thing, what we have got it from our research. In the local variety, we have the moisture. That is a maximum into our 100 grams variety. Then we have the protein contents, that is 10.13. And then we have the fat, as well as we have the crude fiber, we have the ash, we have the NFE, we have the lycopene. So these are all the bioactive compounds which we got it from the processing. When we have the tomato peels into the mechanical methods, and those peels we have been detected into the lab experimentation, and ultimately we got it all the nutrients that is rich with all the fibers or the micronutrients here. Then we have the total phenolics, and then we have the flavonoids, the antioxidant activities, the potassium and the calcium. So these are not actually the tomato pulp, it is the tomato peel that has been done from the industrial waste. And the industrial waste, what they are doing with the peel, sometimes they are putting into the waste bins, or sometimes they are just putting into the water canals, or we can have the polluted water out of that, because there are so many hazards in the soil, there are so many hazards in the water due to the improper management of these peels, including the tomatoes and the potatoes as well. But there are a lot of the potentials with the micronutrients over there. There are a lot of the antioxidant properties these peels have. Let's see what we can deal it with the management. So here the tomato waste, that is the, it's having a very good amount of the nutrients, in which we can detect it that it's a moisture there, ash there, protein there, fat there, and fiber there. And we have the lycopene, that is a important nutrient here, the phenolics, the flavonoids, the fatty acids, and the minerals. So where we put it into the first, we must have to deal it with the cereals. Again, it's a byproduct of the waste, the tomatoes, and we can put it into the cereals. I mean the cereals, the industries, they are preparing the certain cereals, and even we can do it at the household level as well. Like we can put it into the soups, we can put it, we can prepare it like a tomato paste, the sauces, the powder, and we can make it as a product like rich in the oils, and we can use it into the supplements as well. The supplements, the nutritional supplements that we are using for the vitamin C, for the calcium, for the potassium, for the antioxidant properties. The pharmaceuticals companies, they could be utilized the best, the tomato peel. And then we can have the very good market with the cosmetics industries, because the cosmetics, they have been putting a lot of the, the prepared formulas of the vitamin C, the potassium, vitamin E, or the certain other matters. So how we could be use it into the cosmetics? It is again important that how we can have to start the advancements of the industries. Ultimately, that how the proper management of the tomato peel waste that could be utilized fully into the industries like cosmetics industries, or we can do it with the food supplement industries or the pharmaceutical companies. The second most important utilization of this tomato peel, we can put it into the meat industries. It can be used for the flavors into the meat, or like we can be use it like a powder, we can be make it like a binder for the food, we can put it into the meat for the color, and we could have these food waste that could be used into the meat industries, and ultimately it will reduce the landfills, and we can have to promote the sustainable food products, or we can have the longer time period for the food that could be available by the byproduct production. So another idea is that many of the researchers, they are been working with the valorizations of the tomato peel processing in the byproducts. The two speakers, they have been already discussed with the valorization process, in which they are producing the biochars, the biohydrogen or the biomass, or the biodegradable packing materials that have been used into the India. They have been utilized into the Indonesia, or there are so many other countries, they have been using all these byproducts, especially in the field of the biohydrogen, biochar, or some kind of the biodegradable packing materials. So it could be a nice idea if we can do that. So here, this is not actually the my research conclusion, but it's a general kind of the knowledge which I want to share with you, that while we are dealing every kind of the peel into our country, either it's a food peel, or it's a kind of the fruit or the vegetable peels, how we can do it. First of all, like if we are looking for the SDGs, our second SDG, which is very favorite for mine, that is a zero hunger. If we are producing a lot of rich foods into our universe, definitely it should be fully utilized, and it could be the food that would be available for the human, for the animals, and the plants. It's a primary product of the tomatoes which we are using for the curries, and the byproduct we could be used in the form of the pulp, or in the form of the powder, or some kind of the other products. And for the animals, we can do it with the some of the animal feeds. They are rich in the nutrients. We have been already mentioned that the tomato peel has very much rich with the proteins, with the antioxidant properties, and ultimately it's rich with the calcium and the potassium. So it could be used for the animal feeds, and ultimately it's a plant health that is important. And the biochar, yes, it could be produced best when we are using these peels for our agricultural industries. And our sixth SDG, that is a clean water and the sustainability. If we put lot of the peels into the water, like into the open streams of the water, or we could put it into the waste, it will definitely a very hazardous for the water.
Sorry for the interference.
Yep.
Could you please wind up?
Yeah. It's the last one.
Thank you.
This is the last one.
Thank you.
So SDG 6 is actually the clean water, the surety of the good sanitation, the management of the good sanitation. If we will use all these products fully into the utilization, we can protect the water, and we can make the sanitation sensibly. And then we have the proper disposal definitely for the management, and that maybe it prevent the water pollutions. Yes, we can SDG 7, that is affordable and the clean energy by the technologies. We can use it, these all peels or the waste products into the valuable entrepreneurs. They could be used it for the biochar or the bioethanol products. And then we have the climate action as well, that is a mitigation of the greenhouse emissions that could be dealt by the proper utilization of the these peels or the waste products. And then the life on the lands, yes, it is our ultimate goal to live healthy and happy in this universe. And if we could have to promote the biodiversity, definitely it could be valuable for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. you very much for a nice presentation, Dr. Farhana. If you have any questions from the audience, please. Questions? So we don't have any questions.
Thank you.
Dr. Farhana. Thank you so much. So our next presenter is Dr. Tanveer Jain. He is online. He is from Department of Botany, Nipur University.